Well, hello there, and good day. Welcome to the Classical Room. Yow!
Do you hear that, Chuck?
That is the magnificent sound of classical music. Ramona, if you'd do us the honors, when did classical music begin?
Around the 11th century.
Where did it begin?
In Europe.
By whom?
Well, Europeans.
That makes sense. Now, Ramona, how do you know if you're listening to classical music?
Well, usually it's played by an orchestra, which is an ensemble of instruments containing string, woodwind, brass, and percussion sections.
And who creates classical music?
The composer. The composer writes music for each instrument that sounds good when played all together. Chuck, can you name some famous composers?
Bach, Handel, Mozart, Beethoven, Chopin, Brahms, and Tchaikovsky. Those guys are awesome!
Yeah.
And what instruments do you need to create beautiful classical music?
There are lots of them. There are the string instruments, such as violin, cello, and harp.
And woodwind instruments, such as the flute, clarinet, and bassoon.
And don't forget the brass instruments, such as trumpet, trombone, tuba, and horns.
Or the percussion, timpani, bass drum, and cymbals, to name a few.
You'll get a chance to play with some of those instruments later.
Yeah! And there is classical singing, too. Opera singers take words that would normally be spoken and sing them in a theatrical way.
Check out the Mystical Lyrical Solarium game to hear Chuck get his opera on.
Okay, here's the deal. Huge classical music concert at the mall coming up. I want that gig. I want it! So, we gotta turn ourselves into the most exciting classical orchestra this town has ever seen. Chuck Vanderchuck's Classical Explosion! Yeah! Blunk.
Check it. Gear up and plug in. You ready to practice?
Let's get cultured! Huzzah!